What is the best Beatles album is a question many people like to debate. Is it Abbey Road? Or maybe the White Album? Or maybe even Revolver? Well, the album I'm talking today doesn't fall into the category of best Beatles album, but I still think it's really dang good. This is my take on Rubber Soul. I first discovered this album a few years ago when I was randomly downloading a bunch of Beatles songs and found the song Michelle. I thought it was decent, so I put it on my playlist. Fast forward a year, and while browsing a record shop, I came across this exact copy of this album on CD. It was $4, so I figured why not. After I listened to it a few times, it got into my regular rotations of album, so, in my opinion, that's high praise. I will say, over my countless listens to this album, I will maintain that this album has a different vibe to it than other Beatles albums. It isn't quite the high energy fun of their earlier albums, nor is it the psychedelic intensity of Revolver and Sgt. Pepper, nor does it have the grand feel of some songs on Let It Be. It has its own unique vibe. I feel like it is more mellow and relaxed for the most part. It definitely feels right that this is regarded as a pop album, but anyway, let's get to the tracks. You can already tell something is different with the first track on the album, Drive My Car. It has a slower tempo and as I said before, a mellow vibe. Though it also kind of feels like a children's song at the same time, though that's not an insult necessarily, with the beep beeps and all, you know. It is not my favorite song on the album, but it's still pretty good. It gives you a feeling on how the rest of the album is gonna feel. Norwegian Wood is the second song on this album, and it is also really good. It's relaxing, but also has somewhat dark lyrics around the end, when John Lennon literally lights the apartment that he's in on fire. I do like the almost sarcastic feel of the last line, and the sitar is a good addition too. It gives the song a more unique sound. However, I'm not the biggest fan of the third track on this album, You Won't See Me. It's fine, but to me, the most forgettable song in the album, aka I usually zone out when listening to this song. The singing is beautiful though, and I will say that I do like the Time After Time part quite a bit. Probably a weaker song on the album, but it's nowhere near bad. In fact, it's quite good still. The lowish point is more than made up for with Nowhere Man. This song is an absolute joy. It's great, but it has great but very weird harmonies. In fact, the whole song kind of sounds off, but in a pretty good way, and is somehow really enjoyable. My favorite part is the guitar solo, probably. It is very short, but it sounds pretty damn good. I would say that if you had to listen to one song off Rubber Soul, this would be it, except for the fact that there's another song on this album that exists that is even better than this. Another Lennon composition, actually, but we'll get to that later. Think for Yourself is also a really solid song. Is it the best song by George? No. But it is still great. I love the fuzz bass and once again makes the song really stand out. And also, the vocals are also great. The way George sings Think for Yourself is just, I don't know why, but it sounds really satisfying to me. It's not one of my favorites on the album, but it just goes to show how good this album can be when this song is far lower than many others, and it's still really good. The Word is the next song on the list, and I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't really like this song that much. People say the harmonies are great, and they do complement each other really well, but man, I'm not really a fan of the way this song sounds. It sounds off, but unlike Nowhere Man, in a bad way. I like the lyrics, but that's really about it. It kind of hurts my ears, honestly. No shame if you like the song, but I personally do not like this song. Michelle is how I first discovered this album, and it is a fine song, though I personally don't think the lyrics are all that great, though it is a very, very relaxing song. It feels very folk-like with the acoustic guitar. Not an amazing song, but still decent. What Goes On is a song I actually really like, contrary to popular opinion. It's just a fun song, I guess. Can't really put my finger on it. It's kind of like a country rock song, and it blends together perfectly. I quite like it. Ringo's voice is perfectly fine, although the solo bridge sounds kind of weird, and I can't tell if that's how it's intended to be, or my CD is just missing a tiny bit of data on it. One of the lower songs on the album, but still really solid. Girl is a really good song. It definitely has that mellow vibe I was referring to earlier. That makes this album so unique. The chorus is not catchy unlike many other songs, but it doesn't need to be. This song stands out on its own. I don't know how to explain it. Like many of the other songs on this album, it just sounds so good. I'm Looking Through You is probably my favorite song by Paul on this album. It's just kind of a fun song to sing, except for the depressing lyrics, I guess. The lyrics are actually pretty good in my personal opinion. And the song contrasts that with just being pleasant to listen to. The ending is probably my favorite part, even if it's a fade out. Just the way it's sung is, well, perfect in my opinion. Now we get to the best song on this album, In My Life. This is a John composition, and it is definitely probably one of the most beautiful songs I've heard. Anyone who has seen anyone who has seen things come and go, aka anyone older than like 13 to 15 years old, can relate to this to an extent. It's a very sad feeling song, but in a good way. It's my absolute favorite song off of Rubber Soul, personally, and that is high praise considering how good this album is, in my opinion. However, Wait is kind of a weird song, as it was a holdover from the album Help. However, until I heard about that, I had no suspicion that the song was from another album. They cleaned it up and gave it some overdubs, which definitely makes it feel like a Rubber Soul song. And despite being a weaker song on this album, it's still really good. I remember someone commented on a video that it sounds unfinished, and I can see that, but the parts that are there are great, especially the second As Good As I Can Be part. The drumming is actually really good on that part. It really makes a song for me. Our second to last song is If I Needed Someone, and this is George's other song on the album, and I can't tell which one I like better, Think For Yourself or If I Needed Someone. Both are really great. The harmonies are really good. I'm not an expert on music or anything, and I just want to review music, kind of, so I guess that kind of makes me a critic, but not really at the same time. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The harmonies are great. The song sounds fairly unique, and it throws in some strange but cool lyrics for good measure. I do like the funkiness of Think For Yourself, but I like the feel of this one too. Really strong song. Unfortunately, we kind of end on a weak note, though, with Run For Your Life. It's catchy, and it's perfectly fine. It's even a good song. And I like how dark it is, but it is a far cry from some of the other songs on this album. When you have one of the most beautiful songs of all time on here, this just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, in my opinion. You know? It feels more like a song off of an earlier album. Not bad, but not the greatest song ever. Even with the weak ending, Rubber Soul is still a favorite of mine. It is folk rock, but feels completely different from other folk/folk pop artists at the time, such as Simon and Garfunkel, and especially Bob Dylan. This is a legitimately great album, and probably their best pre-1966 album, with it blowing away their previous best, A Hard Day's Night, which is still a really good album. So what do I give Rubber Soul? I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. It'd probably be a point higher, though, if I liked The Word or Run For Your Life more. To me, an album is great if all the tracks are good. And, well, Rubber Soul seems to accomplish that, even though I may not like all the songs equally, I can still reckon that some of the songs still have, well, all of the songs still at least have some redeeming qualities, unlike some other albums. If you like the Beatles and you like folk, you'll probably love this album just as much as me. But what do you guys think? Comment below your opinion if you've listened to this album, or just general thoughts on the video. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.